for human sex trafficking, and this is according to the Department of Justice. It's basically modern-day slavery in our own backyard. For example, a Hazelwood man will be sentenced for his role in a sex trafficking operation that involved teenage girls in just a few weeks. Reginald Williams was found guilty of forcing girls to work as prostitutes. Authorities say he posted ads for these girls on websites like Backpage.com. And that's just one of several recent cases involving sex trafficking in St. Louis. Here to tell us more and how you can help prevent it from happening, our FBI Special Agent in Charge, Dean Bryant, sex trafficking educator, Angela Valdez, and then this is an actual victim. This is Cathy Summers. Thank you so much for coming in. This is something that I have found friends of mine talking about in recent weeks, but apparently this has been going on in St. Louis for quite some time. I'll start with you. Why is it so prevalent in St. Louis?
St. Louis is, unfortunately, this is the traffickers that are involved in this. It's a business. It's a huge money-making business, and St. Louis is no different than any other large metropolitan area. Specifically, St. Louis, I think there's a couple factors. Number one, St. Louis has a lot of events that bring a lot of money in and bring tourism as well. And I mean, you need not look any further than the St. Louis Cardinals, games that they get in the World Series, brings a lot of media attention, a lot of people, and these traffickers know what events to attend and what not to attend, the ones that will make money for them and the ones that won't.
So you're telling me the traffickers know that if all these people are coming into town for a big event, they can find potential customers?
Absolutely. And the second thing, and maybe more importantly, is the fact that I believe that traffickers will look at the reputation for the Midwest, St. Louis perhaps, compared to New York, a Los Angeles, a San Francisco, and they look at a more friendly environment where people will not pay as much attention to what's going on around them, less suspecting, and they think they can fly under the radar.
I want to just throw out some of the disturbing statistics, but human trafficking generates $9.5 billion a year in the United States. We're talking kids as young as, well, Cathy, how old were you, 5?
5.
When this happened? Most of the children, though, are in the 13, 14-year-old range when they're taken in. A lot of runaways are taken in. I can't believe this. One pimp can make $150,000 to $200,000 per child every year, and they usually have 4 to 6 girls. I mean, I think when we were talking about it in the Great Day office, it's just sick that there's such a big market for this. Cathy, your story happened a long time ago, and it wasn't just you, it was also your brother and sister who were taken in.
Right.
So tell me how that happened.
My mother took us away from my father and decided that she was going to make a life on her own and couldn't make it work and turned to prostitution, and it didn't take long for a pimp to take her in and obviously take us in. She was always sort of a protector. She wanted to protect us, and but once the alcohol and the drugs became an issue, she was so zoned out of us that's when he took that opportunity to prostitute us as well.
And how old were you guys?
I was 5, and my brother is 2 years older than me, and my sister is 2 years older than him, so 5, 7, and 9, and we were in it for about 2 years.
And he took you all around the southeast, right?
Absolutely. That was a huge part of the whole operation, was traveling constantly.
And you would go to truck stops?
Yeah. That wasn't necessarily the norm. There wasn't really a norm. There was restaurants, and everywhere we stopped, we seemed to know someone. They seemed to be connected everywhere. So everywhere we stopped, we would end up staying at somebody's house that was there, that we had been invited to.
And Angela, you are an educator. Your mission is to get the word out in St. Louis that this is happening. What are some of the things that you discovered in your research that startled you when you first started looking into this?
First of all, that it even existed. It was mind-boggling to realize that the sale of human beings was quickly becoming the #1 crime in the nation. And you don't think it's in your own backyard, you think it's in another country. But when I started researching and attending the St. Louis Rescue and Restore Coalition and so forth, and hearing actual facts from the FBI and people in the front lines, I realized it was definitely here as well.
So it sounds like there are a lot of different channels, truckers, some truckers, and then also the websites, these big events that people bring in, people to those cities for that. So we have a lot to discuss. We're going to continue this conversation after the break. And coming up on Great Day St. Louis, we're going to talk about the red flags, what to look for, and when to call police, and how we can put an end to sex trafficking in our community and find these women and these children who are living in slavery. That's next. Welcome back. We are continuing our conversation about sex trafficking and how prevalent it has become in the St. Louis area. St. Louis is among the 20 cities with the largest sex trafficking problem in our country. Women and children taken into slavery and forced into prostitution. Here to tell us more on how we can help prevent it from happening, FBI Special Agent in Charge Dean Bryant, sex trafficking educator Angela Valdez, and Cathy Summers, who is a victim of sex trafficking, and you were taken as a young child, both you and your brother and sister, and you were just telling me during the break that this man would take you to some really nice houses full of people who would basically pass you guys around.
Yeah, it was like being an hors d'oeuvre. Yeah, passed around to different people for different things. And one of the specific houses that I recall, it was just the most beautiful. It was a mansion, glass and, you know, beautiful scenery, beautiful views.
So these aren't just low-income people who are the customers.
That's right.
Now, what I want to know is what this man was telling you. What do these people tell their victims to keep them under their control?
They are, in my experience, controlled by fear. So there's not a physical prison. There doesn't need to be one. That there are emotional, mental shackles. So many times I've been asked, well, if you went to school, which we did, why didn't you tell a teacher? Why didn't you just run straight to a policeman when you saw one on the street? And we were brainwashed and convinced that he had total control and total power over our ability to live, survive. He controlled food. There was starvation, torture. There was just everything, every aspect of control. He took it.
Now, Special Agent Bryant, you say that this is what you see time and time again. What about for teenage girls? I've heard that some girls will be invited to maybe a party, and then it just goes from there. They were given drugs, alcohol. Explain to me how that works.
There's so many different ways that this can occur. It may be a party where somebody targets a female. It may be somebody walking into the mall and they see a 14, 15-year-old girl, and they'll pay some attention to that girl, make initial contact. If they get the girl to walk over to them, they may not be too pushy at that point, but provide them some attention and a contact number. That may be followed up by contact by the trafficker while the person's at home and starts to befriend that individual.
Okay.
Now the girl finds somebody she can talk to and becomes more enamored with that individual.
Are they abducted from there, or is sometimes they're able to control these girls so they can go back home?
No, usually that type of situation, they're enticed by something. Maybe it's nice things they can't get at home. Maybe it's just the conversation of making them an adult. But eventually it turns into a situation like you were just explained, where they become threatened with, you continue to do what I'm asking you to do, or we will go kill your family, we'll kill your mother, or your brother, your sister. And it's threats.
Angela, I know that your mission now is to get this word out to the public on social media. You're hosting seminars. What do you want to tell the public as far as awareness and what they can do to help spot these victims?
Well, everybody can do something, and most people are on social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. So, you know, do a little homework or contact some of these organizations that can give them information and share it. Just put the word out and ask their friends. Educate your circle of friends. If you can be a voice, then together we can make a huge difference. But everybody can be a part of this.
And what are some of the red flags that we can look for? I know that sometimes these traffickers will actually tattoo their victims, or if you see young kids maybe walking around with older men at a truck stop.
Absolutely. I mean, that's it exactly. I mean, pay attention. I think people have been raised a lot of times when they go home and tell their mother that come home from school and Johnny did something bad, and Mom will say, hey, you just take care of yourself. And I think we grow up that way. But you have to get involved. You have to pay attention to your surroundings. If you see a young female with an older male and it's out of place, contact somebody. Let us look into it. If it's nothing, no problem, but we need to look into these things.
Kathy, you said that you guys went to school. Was there anything that someone who was aware of the situation, not yours, you know, specifically, that they could have picked up on? Maybe the way that you acted or how you kept to yourself?
Yeah, I think that's a huge one. Being withdrawn and not wanting to speak very much for fear of saying the wrong thing. I think that is just classic of someone who is being mistreated in some way. So yeah, I think as we become aware and share more of what that looks like, we will prepare our teachers and our education system and law enforcement of what to look for that is just not really classified. And you know, I think as that image that we all have is a child that is without or poor in ragged clothes, and that's just not the case. They can look as normal as anybody else.
And it's just such a nasty topic. I think people are very uncomfortable talking about it in the first place. So we almost have to make it okay and in a way comfortable, for lack of a better word, so people will even start the conversation in the first place.
Exactly. And a lot of curiosity about, you know, this strikes people's hearts and they say, how can we get involved? What can we do? We want to make a difference. We want to stand with you and make a difference. And there are so many organizations out there that you can just give them a call, and there's a need. There's, you know, tons of volunteering opportunities.
Well,
for sure.
speaking of that, and thank you all three of you for coming today. We have posted links on our website, links to y'all's websites where you can find these resources and these organizations. That's on greatdaystlouis.com. Thank you. Matt.
Thank you.